How many Armageddons are there?
Giants are probably about the same size as these guys. If that obelisk was, let's say, I don't know, 100 feet tall, whatever it is, my guy in my yard is
you see the Giants built the obelisk?
So they could have easily
you see the
been
Giants?
what these guys are doing here. All right, this is a giant fingertip from a giant...
From the Bible, the Nephilim.
And it was DNA tested. I broke a piece off there so I could get down inside where the blood was. Totally flush with blood. That is the fingernail. This is the blood supplies. This little round pad here is the bumper pad that bumps into your next bone so that it rocks on there. These two spots are the blood supplies that come in. This I broke off, and there is fingerprints still on there. It was absolutely flawless, and it's gigantic. It's almost 3 feet long. So I've calculated out the thing should be damn close to 150 feet tall. Now, these are the ridges on your fingerprints, just like these ridges. In those ridges are these little tiny sweat pores. There they are right there. You see the sweat pores? These are the fingerprints, and this is the piece I broke off. I went down inside where all the blood is, and there was plenty of it. I had no problem getting blood. This is the key with my fingers. You see right up there, remember I showed you the two little blood supplies? This is exactly where you are, way up here. That's it. There's your two little blood supplies, and then there's blood supplies on the side and on the end. And they are just totally flush with blood. I mean, you can see the blood. And I have all kinds of really good shots of how blood flows in a hand. And it is dense. Because these are what they call the terminals. What happens is you got vein blood or artery blood coming in. And you see, artery blood comes in on this side, artery blood comes in on this side. Then the vein blood comes back, and the vein blood comes back. And they're two separate systems. So your artery blood comes down and goes anywhere it wants because it's saturated with good stuff. Then the vein blood gets sucked back, and there's nothing other than just one vein, basically, that goes back at the terminals to bring that blood back to get recharged. This is where most of the action happens, at your fingertips and your toes. That's where the terminals are. In most cases, there's a lot of other places that there's veins, obviously, because there's blood flowing everywhere, but these are the major ones. Let me show you what happens in the hand when you put it under field effects. How cool is this? In my logo print, you see this is glowing, crazy glow, and then the tips, the same thing, because this is where blood is just absolutely dense. And that's something, and that's under magnetic field effects. And here's what the blood really looks like. You see how many vessels there are? People don't realize how saturated you are with blood. Every single cell has to be saturated with blood continuously, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it continuously moves because it's used up very quickly. In 4 or 5 minutes, you're dead because your blood hasn't moved. You know, if your heart stops pumping, you're dead very quickly. Now, this is where that real glow is, and then the tips were where the extreme glow was. And that's what my hand logo shows. See, look at that glow here. And then, of course, they're going to be out here, too, wherever they dense in blood. Just the way it works. And it's just a little anatomical version of how all of this stuff fits together and articulates. Very interesting. All right, this is the littler one that's on my property. It's still over 3 feet wide. I think it's almost 4 feet wide, the hand. And I have fingertips and knuckles and all kinds of things from this. And I have all kinds of body parts from this actual one because this was just...
So he's showing you all the blood he's going to extract from this big giant hand. If he show you it's real because he's going to extract the blood that's...
It's just what it is.
Inside of
it. They somehow were gigantic creatures, and they were all drowned in the flood. This is from a flood. Now, remember I showed you the grip skin on that big, gigantic fingertip that I popped off? This is the grip skin on this hand. And that grip skin is that very heavy, keratinized, tough, they call it grip skin, friction skin. And that does the job on your hands, just like a rubber, like a pad of rubber. All over your fingers and all over your palms and your toes and your heels. Okay, so as I said, I'm a little upset. This is a fingertip on my property. I had a DNA tested, and it is human. It is almost 3 feet long. This is where the blood supply comes in. That's the little pad that bumps into your next bone. That is literally the fingernail. That's the fingernail. It's not in bad shape.